going with my mother to Magnan Temple on Wilshire Boulevard, taking the bus, she gloves and veil, little kind of adult veil, and her older friends, and going into the synagogue and having people, pinch my cheeks, and way out, not related to me. They were older. I was alone with my mother. And I'm going into this place where this grand man is speaking far away with a cape over him. And I'm reading very fast the prayer book because I read really well. And God and he and he and he and Lord and he and he. I'm looking around. I don't have a dad. My dad's not living at home. There's terrible tension between them. Terrible tearing between loyalties by me. And I'm looking, and there I'm sitting to this buxom woman with giant, giant breasts and smelling wafts of perfume. And I'm sitting there, and it's enough already, and I'm laying on her bosom. And I'm hearing he, and I'm saying, this does not compute. I think that was my first experience with the sacred. And I don't think I had any as deep as that until I became an embodied expressive artist and began to feel such powers that came from where? And that surrender was my sense that there's a relationship between me and the universe that's God. It's a relationship. I guess thou grew up. I grew up to understand that. What's I it? What's an I it? Does I it mean that I look at you and I say, he's got a mustache there. I wonder how old he is. That's kind of I it. But then there's I thou. And that swells inside of me. I started to see, I just started to understand things very deeply. And my understanding of the Hebrew God grew out of my understanding of she. And I thought maybe there's some union, like the Shekhinah and God, that there's some kind of union. But the male part I didn't quite get.
How would...
And like if I touch you and I don't force anything into you with my touch, I don't draw away from you, I witness at that moment. And that witnessing might take me layers into your being. I may be all the way into the mind of a cell, or I might be flowing with blood. And that will waken up the blood in me flowing. And then I begin to feel the exchange through that touch. So I began to understand deity as the witness. Some people call that being in the now, witnessing, like being present.
I didn't believe in God. I argued with my grandfather when I was 10. I don't believe in the creation. I know how the creation was created, I said. Kant and Laplace, the French astronomers, figured it out in the 18th century, that a part of the sun was pulled away and that the planets came. I never prayed. My father never prayed. He went to the hospital, to the synagogue once a year to hear Kol Nidre. Since he couldn't buy a ticket to enter the big shul, he was standing outside and talking to friends. The only thing that I had for faith was my mother would put 2 candles on Friday night without blessing them because she didn't know the blessing. From the age of 11, I became a member of Hashomer Tzair, the youth movement called the young guard. It was a socialistic, Zionistic movement that educated people to go to Harshara, to preparation to become a kibbutznik, and then to go in Israel and build a kibbutz. And I never prayed. In our kibbutz, in our movement, we never prayed. We even didn't kindle candles. It was everything was secular. So, and even when at the age of 10, I was supposed to be dead. I had inflammation of the lung, of my pleurisy. And I know I was dying because I remember 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock after midnight. I was lying in a bed. My father left me because he was too tired to sit with me. It was a big ward with 20 beds. No nurses, no medicine, nobody, nothing, dark. And I wanted to lift my finger and I couldn't. I was dying. But somehow I survived without praying. Even in that moment I didn't pray because I didn't know what prayer means. I never was trained. So when you speak about prayer, this was the greatest test for a person. If he believes in God or not. In God the way we imagine it is, that you have to pray to God. It wasn't in my vocabulary, and it wasn't for many, many years, and it's still not in my vocabulary. Although I write the most magnificent prayer, because when I write, I feel for a moment, like I felt when I 4 o'clock in the morning, sitting in that room at the piano, playing, composing the last prayer of my Hallel Psalms, which I made sketches, yeah, sketch. I made 40, 50 sketches, all kinds of variations. Till 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, when all were sleeping, I found the right one. In that moment, I felt elation. One people call it God. Some people call it inspiration. Whatever it is, that was a moment of holiness. But on a daily basis, I don't pray. But when I write music, I come inside the words. And the most truthful prayer come out from me, but not on a regular basis. But I will not say there's no God, but I will not say, oh, God, help me. Even now, when I broke when I cracked my hip, there was no prayer in me for God, oh, God, help me. It's not in my system. So I'm the worst candidate for your filming.
One of the most powerful, holy, and sacred experiences happens usually every week and sometimes every day, and that's my improvisations with Bonia. They go to the most vulnerable and to the most ecstatic, and they always come to home, to shalom. Always. Even if the improv is because I'm so disappointed in him, he's let me down, something's not working, he doesn't get it, let's improvise. And the improvisation, I've actually written about 3 pages a couple days ago on what that process is. You may even want to play around with that. But, you know, he'll start maybe at the drum or at the piano, and I will be laying on the floor and not letting anything but gravity and breath take me, and just, and he starts to pick up that rhythm, and yeah, Hi, old aching place. Open, open, open. Old aching place. Stuck, you'll sing. Stuck, stuck, old open place. Stuck, old aching place. Stuck, cannot come back to me. And some rhythm builds out of it, and some talking and dancing and singing and dancing. And even whatever it was we were about is all merged in there, waiting for all the composites of that water to come to settle. It's breathtaking.
When I write music, I write to a source that somebody that listens to me. If I write dance music for Fanchon or I write literature, I write to a power that listens to me. People call it inspiration. Some people call it God. And I have this responsibility for every piece that I write. I can give my head. It doesn't serve my ego at all. The most famous prayer of mine is my Kedusha. And the Kedusha is the Holy of the Holies. And I cannot tell you about the process of writing it because I had, that would maybe it will answer your question. In 1981, a student whose name I forgot in this moment came to me and said, I have to give my final sermon. And the sermon is about a Hasidic rabbi in the 18th century who was a composer. I want only Hasidic music for that service. This was in 81. It was almost 81, 27 years ago. I says, okay, I'll write a Hasidic Kedusha. You know what Kedusha is? You know what Kedusha is. So this was on Monday. On Tuesday, I composed the Kedusha about 2 hours. I did it inspirationally. I don't remember my inspiration, what I had it. It's too far away. And on Wednesday, I rehearsed it with the choir. And on Shabbat, I did it. People didn't jump. People didn't scream, oh, Bonia, what a fantastic Kedusha. Nah. But I felt lousy. I felt so guilty. How dare I to take the most holy text of the entire Jewish literature, sanctification, in which the text speaks about one choir of angels stand to the left of the throne of God, and another choir of angels stands from the right, and one sings to the other, Kadosh, 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 holy, 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 etc., etc. And I made it a simple folk song. I felt so guilty that I made fun of God, that I went to my studio, and in one day, Sunday, I composed a grandiose Kedusha for cantor, for choir, for congregation, for organ, for instrument. And on Monday, I had 2 of them. 2 Kedushas. But who will tell me which one to use? Both are gorgeous. So I invited Jacob Petrovsky, the leading liturgist in the world of Jewish religion, who Havav Shalom, who died in the 90s for unsuccessful heart surgery. Unsuccessful heart surgery. I bought him 2 Kedushas. One is grandiose and one is folksy. And I said, Jacob, which one do you like? And guess which one he liked? I'm asking you.
Well, I'm going for the one that became the most popular, the folksy.
You didn't know Jacob Petrowski. Jacob Petrowski grew up in Berlin, in Germany. In the age of 13, he was sent as a youth to England with the youth immigration that the Jewish organized to take away the young people from Germany. He was raised on Lewandowski and all the classical German composers. Grandiose music, organ, choir. His response was, the folksy one, folksy. This is the grandiose, this is fantastic. So I said, if Jacob Petrowski, the greatest authority of literature in the world, says it, it's sacred, it's holy. He leaves the room and they have a knock at the door. And Ariel Azriel, a rabbinic student born in Israel, who went through till the age of 13, 14 operations of his leg to overcome his polio that he had in his leg so he could walk. They succeeded to make him limping, walk now with one leg, always schlepping it, dragging it. Aryeh Azrael comes in and he says, Bonia, הקדושה שלך ששמענו בשבת היא פנטסטית. You understand Hebrew? Yeah. The Kedusha that you heard, you did Shabbat is fantastic. Play us for a whole week till we will learn it. I have no tears. I said, okay. I played it for a whole week, and since then I cannot stop playing it. 81, 91, 2001, it is now all over the world. In Russia, they don't know another Kedusha. In Europe, they don't know another Kedusha, only mine. It's literally, in Germany, in Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, everything's my Kedusha. In Israel, it became the Holy of the Holies. While the one that intentionally wanted to make the Holy of the Holies wouldn't accept.